Hi, I'm Sarah. I want to talk about my weird parents, but first I need to picture all you guys naked. Or not. Okay, so this is Herb. You need to meet Herb first. Herb was a graphic designer, and this is Herb as a young art student with his pencil that he was really in love with, as you can tell, until he met Jean. And between Jean and the pencil, there's sort of no contest. So this is my mother, and she's up on the roof. She's a dancer. He was an art student at the Art Institute in Chicago. She was in town with a dance show, and so they met and married and had a family. That is Herb and Jean, and my sister Joan and Ruth, who are 8 and 9 years older than me, and Jeffy the neurotic whippet and Cha-Cha the duck. We lived on the south side of Chicago. Then my dad got a job as a professor of graphic design. We moved to Highland Park. The stuff on the porch, my mother's art, she used to take the insets from boxes, packing boxes, and string them together like styrofoam insets, so it was really embarrassing. Meanwhile, my father was up in his studio doing stuff like this. You kind of get like I had some tooth fairy problems, but so my parents were weird, and on top of that, we called them by their first names. We called them Herb and Jean my entire life. So very early on, I developed this idea that anything that was weird, or anything that was creative or artistic was weird, and I absolutely wanted nothing to do with it, and I just really pushed against it. So of course, I moved to New York. And I was 17, and one of my first jobs, I got this a job in the newsroom at the New York Times, and I came in, and it was this really marvelous culture of mentoring, and they said, well, you know, you're good with design and you're good with data, why don't you try the graphics desk, and you know, you can learn how to become a graphics editor. And I thought, well, that's too weird, no way. Because it brought me right back to my childhood, and this is like, my mother was sewing clothes at this point, and so this is me understanding, like, hand-me-downs, like, okay, jeez. So anyway, so no, I said no. But at the Times, it's a very rigorous, persistent place, and they said, you know, hey, why don't you try it, you know? You really should try it. And so I did start trying to become a graphics editor, and it clicked. And I was about to get promoted. It was really great, and I got this phone call, and God, I'm doing this on stage, and my father had collapsed, and Herb was in the hospital, and he had had a bad heart, and it was Tuesday. Normally he called my sister on Sunday, and he was in a coma. He wasn't going to wake up, and I flew to Chicago, and he woke up, and I got to say, you know, hey, Herb, I'm going to be a graphics editor. So there was this passing of the baton. And now you think I'm going to embrace creativity, but I'm not. I still rejected it because it was so much like my parents, and so I was really serious because I was at the New York Times. I spent a decade like visualizing and reporting, and the editor and graphics editor was more important than the graphics, and I'm learning statistics and charts, and it's going really well, and it's going so well that I get a phone call from Fortune magazine. They're like, why don't you come be the infographics director? And I'm like, shh. Sounds good, I think I'll go. And I get there, and they're doing this stuff with data that's like, what is this? It's weird. It's weird. It doesn't tell a story. And they're like, yeah, we like it. So I'm like, okay, so you like that? I'm like, well, if you'd like that, how about if we tell the story of the first iPhone as a portable music player, and we go on eBay and we like buy all these old school music players and we explode them and we do a timeline. This was like a fold out, so it went on forever. And they're like, oh, okay. So we do that, and then I'm like, okay, fine, you want creative? Why don't we take a pie chart and we make it into like a bar chart, and like we make a tree chart? And they're like, okay. I'm like, all right, fine, you know, you guys, how about if we take a chart and make it out of cheese? And this is a story about craft, and it was a chart out of cheese. So anyway, by the time I get to the Wall Street Journal, where they think I'm really weird, I just can't stop. And the toothpaste is out of the tube, and suddenly, like, being weird and creative scratches this itch that sort of fits, and it's really comfortable, and it's really great, and I don't quite know why. I had to spend a decade pushing against something that I really have to say thank you to my parents for. So I just, I just want to say thank you, Herb, and thank you, Jean, and thank you for EYO for letting me be here in this creative opportunity. Thanks.